Hi, everybody. I wanted to hop on here and let you know, especially if you're new to unschooling, about the course that I offer for new unschoolers. It's also helpful for unschoolers who maybe dove in maybe last year or the year before, and you didn't necessarily have a good handle on what unschooling was all about. You thought you did, but then as you got in it, you're like, I don't know. And so what I would invite you to do is to grab this course. And I had a couple people that said, I want to know more about it before I give you some money. And I don't blame you. So I want to jump on with a little slide thing that I have that will help you figure out if you want to do this or not. So let's see if I can do this. And great, I think I can. All right, so jumping into unschooling is the name of the course, and there are 4 different modules that are part of it that will help you get a good foundation, because a lot of times people are like, well, well, take a course on unschooling, isn't that kind of like weird? And it's not weird, because our way of thinking as new parents entering, not new parents, but new unschoolers entering into this world, we're really familiar with a schooly approach. We're really familiar with checking boxes and getting things organized. And so setting up a course for you helps you get the information you need quickly, so that the lack of information isn't another hurdle that you have to get through. You're going to have to undo a lot of fears, a lot of preconceived ideas over the course of, your parenting lifespan, which is like forever. But so the lack of information doesn't need to be one of the problems that you have to deal with. And you could go through the internet and one by one find the things that you need. You could do that. And there's a whole lot of information at Unschooling Mom to Mom. And but if you're looking for, okay, time is ticking. I really want to get a hold of my fears and move forward, and not keep doing a few steps forward, a few steps back, and second guessing myself all the time. So why take the course? Because familiarity is going to calm your fears, and information is going to bring clarity, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel. So why say no to a little hand holding, right? So what's the course look like? There are 4 modules. It's self-paced. Has videos, and I'll show you a behind the scenes thing in a second. But first, just so that you kind of have an overview of it, videos, resource guides for every module, and then bonuses like the startup guide, the Everything Counts ebook, Unschooling Your Teens ebook, and the stewing calendar. You'll get a month of a free stewing calendar. Those of you that came in this past week, I'm going to go ahead and get you on the list so you get August's calendar too, since you just had a couple days left of July. So those of you that sign up between now and midnight tomorrow, you can have the August calendar too, and see, it's fun. It's got like little celebrations for every day of the month. So what else is in here besides these bonuses and just the general layout? The first module is about unschooling groundwork. So it is, what is unschooling? How does it work? Why are we doing this? What's going on here that makes us want to go this unconventional path? And then the building blocks that you're going to need. And so then the next module is overcoming your fears, handling critics, fears about yourself and your abilities, or maybe you're afraid that you don't have certain abilities. Let's walk you through some of that. And then fears about your child. Sometimes we worry about, are they motivated? Are they going to just play Fortnite all the time? How do I do this? And so let's talk about it. And then, there are just a lot of random fears that we have. A lot of people that have taken this course said, I could have a whole course on managing fears. So maybe somewhere down the road we'll do that. But certainly we can get you out of the gate with some confidence, and so that you don't have to come into this tentative and worried and only halfway doing it. Module 3, how do unschoolers learn? You know, how does this really work? And then how do they get what they need for adulthood, or even just for day-to-day living now as kids? And so we'll talk about deschooling. You've probably heard about that. That's just where you start to undo the way that school has convinced us there's one right way, but really there are so many right ways, right? And so taking into consideration your kid's personality, their learning style, the situation at home, all of those different factors. We'll talk about learning through play. We'll talk about why using a curriculum is not the best choice. We'll focus on their strengths and working through obstacles that you might have about it. And then module 4 is your role. What do? You don't just set them up and walk away and go start a hobby in the back room. Although you may have time to start hobbies and do things, but there are ways that you are going to want to understand yourself and the way you're interacting with them and what you can say and do to create more connection and establish more trust and just strengthen that relationship. And so that's the strategies that we talk about in module 4. So, because you remember that you don't have to do this alone. And that is one of the things that I really want to make sure that you know. You don't have to start from scratch. And so for those of you that are like, who is this woman and why is she talking to me about all of this? So I'm Sue Patterson from here at Unschooling Mom to Mom. And my 3 kids are now 27, 30, and 32. And they were unschooled and they had all kinds of different interests and paths. And we learned a lot. We moved a lot. We saw lots of different communities. And so over time, I've gathered a lot of information that I want to share with you so that you can say, oh, mine's kind of like that, not so much like that. How do I, patchwork quilt something together that would work? That's a truly individualized approach to learning and raising your kids. So I'm also an author and a writer and a podcaster, and I speak at conferences. And I have just always been a community organizer. And so that is pretty much what this is all about. I want to help the unschooling community figure out how to get more confident with this approach because it really does work. So the other thing I want to show you is that when you decide that you're going to get this, you would come to a page that looks like this. And be sure to use the discount code that says July, because that will allow you to buy this for $99. And then once you've enrolled, you'll get to have this dashboard that lets you look at all the different videos. You can come back to it whenever you want. You can can watch it, you can listen to it. There's audios, there's videos, there's PDFs, so many things in here. A lot of people write afterwards and like, wow, that was really a solid course. So I really like making things like this. So it's really good. And I just wanted you to kind of see what it is behind the scenes. Don't worry, each of these videos, they're not very long. They're probably 20-ish minutes. A few of them are only like 5 minutes. And it's just enough to have you think, that makes sense. I hadn't thought of it that way. And so maybe that's what you would need. So thanks for chatting with me here. If you're chatting under the comments, I will come back in and answer any questions and respond to the comments. And otherwise, I will see you on the other side and have a great rest of the day. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.